This question right here, I love. I love it because it's real. Any tips for handling the intense disappointment and emotional roller coaster of this business? Whoever wrote this, that was so well articulated. Especially when deals fall apart, sellers are ghosting, and leads aren't converting. You're watching a segment from a Freedom Mentor live stream. Join us for our next live event. Go to freedommentor.com/live. Okay, y'all have heard me say this. Real estate is a business of big paydays and long pay delays. And to add to that is the idea that you have the expectation that a big deal's about to close, and then it doesn't. So, Brian, we'll start with you. How do you overcome, or how do you deal with the emotional roller coaster of a big deal that doesn't close?
That's tough, and I've been there. One thing that comes to mind, don't prematurely go full-time in this business. That's, I think, a very important one because I did that early on, and I know what it's like to be backed into the corner. You need this to close. By the way, you wear that on your face. Everyone in the deal knows you need this to close, and you're desperate, and that's when they're going to come after you at the closing table. So I think one thing is, we've always impressed upon our apprentices. I think you have a video that makes it very clear. Don't go full time until you're ready. You want to grow into doing this business because, and even folks that are getting started that are maybe, putting stuff on a credit card and, oh man, can I do that? Or they're working out of their savings and it's almost gone. But if you don't have regular income from a job, oh man, yeah, you can get in a bad position real fast. So I think that's one of the things. Make sure you're in a position, you're here to grow a business. This isn't the lottery. You're not just, buying a ticket and hoping the best. This is a real business. You want to make sure you approach it like a business and develop it so that you're in a position where, hey, there's going to be ups and downs. That's just part of developing a business. If this was easy and everyone could do it, you'd have too much competition and you wouldn't make any money. So I think that's one of the points. Another one that I'll point out is I had an apprentice on one of my group calls just the other day, and he was kind of letting me know how it went with this conversation he had with the seller. Seller wasn't really happy about the situation, things that are kind of outside everyone's control. And, I listened to it and then I responded and he said, how do you maintain your cool? How do you just do you ever lose your patience? And what I pointed out is, what? It's very interesting. When you're in a deal, it is that emotional roller coaster. We all do that on the deals we work on. We reach out to each other because, hey, I'm in this. I can't fully separate my emotions from it. That's just being human. But when you're working with a mentor, someone that is a step removed, we can be objective. We can guide you through and kind of be this calming influence throughout, because it's not to say we don't care about your deal. We do. We want you to make money. We make money when you make money, right? According to our splits. But we're able to guide you through it and keep you on the right track, and keep your expectation where it should be and help you to focus on the big picture, right? This isn't one deal and we're going to retire. This is a business you're building. And I think when I was a student, this was many moons ago, one of the things that stuck with me that had me just absolutely dive in is, Phil, you shared on a group call that, what, we're not trying to just teach you how to do a deal. We're trying to teach you how to consistently do deals. And that's what I needed. I needed consistent income to change my future, and it absolutely did. So those are the few things that come to mind.
That is beautiful. See, great questions create fantastic answers. Devin, let's go to you, because this you've been a full-time real estate investor for a long time. If anybody, us three, we know what this person's saying. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so when I look at that question, which is an amazing question, I think how you mentally overcome the disappointments and the emotional roller coasters is I always keep track of what I spent on leads, what systems I'm using to generate the leads, and then what my profit is at the end of the year, right? And you understand as a seasoned real estate investor that at the end of the year, That's what matters. So you can talk to 20 motivated sellers and not one deal closes. And then you get 2 or 3 in a row, and all of a sudden you got 3 deals under contract, right? You can't get married to the outcome of each conversation. You look at it from a year perspective. And what people don't realize is that 2 to 5 deals a year is a good amount of deals, right? There's a lot of things that are like 10 deals a month, and that's great. And you can scale to that. But 2, 3, 4, 5 good deals a year can bring in an extra 180, 300, 350, right? And that's the reality. I mean, I'll probably do 5 or 6 deals this year, and I'm going to make really good income off of those deals. And that's what people understand is you have to look at it from a year perspective, and you have to realize that your next deal might be $100,000 deal. It may be a $75,000 deal. That's how you eliminate this emotional roller coaster. And by what Brian said, by having a full-time job, you're not always needing to close a deal. When you need to close a deal, the seller knows it. Everybody knows it. When you can say, you know what? Like the best advice, Phil, that you gave me is you have to have the ability to walk away from a deal. When you have that ability, you're going to do more deals.
Yeah. We have been coaching and mentoring real estate investors for 20 years. In fact, some of America's most successful investors got their start with us. Here's what our apprentices have to say about working with us.
Freedom Mentor was probably one of the biggest blessings I've had in my life.
For us, it's been life-changing, hands down. Couldn't even think about not doing this, right? And what a missed opportunity if I had not done it.
And you can be next. Learn more about our program in the top right corner. Yeah. And it's what's so interesting is that the message that people love to resonate with is that by becoming a full-time real estate investor, they've removed the alarm clock, they've quit their job, and as y'all have mentioned, you've got to have things dialed in. My grandfather told me this piece of advice. My mentor told me this piece of advice. You got to have a lot of irons in the fire. So my answer to this question is, if you have a lot of different productive activities going on, so maybe you do have a full-time job, and that does eat up a big portion of your day, and you've got family responsibilities and those sorts of things, you don't have time to stress over one deal. My mentor used to always give me the analogy of like the penguin nursing the one egg, sitting on the one egg. And if it's a dead egg, well, boy, it's a huge waste of time. You have got to have a lot of irons in the fire. It's this magical formula that eliminates so many stresses because you've got so much going on. When one deal's not working out, you naturally have that walkaway power because you're not so married to that one deal because you got 7 more, right? And so when you have a lot of irons in the fire, you can eliminate so much of that. Now, as you're pointing out, Devin, you're talking about 3 to 5 deals. You're talking about at the end of the line closing. And sometimes we also refer to it as cherry picking. One of our students closed a deal today, made over $98,000. We were getting the final numbers. Brian and I were going back and forth in the final profit this afternoon. Okay, you may want to do a bunch of deals that make $3,000 per deal. That apprentice, he likes to do big deals, or otherwise focus on his other business that he has, which is as a contractor. And so he's a very successful one. And so, yeah, you have a lot of irons in the fire. It doesn't always have to be house flipping. It could be your career. Devin, you, Brian, myself, we also own quite a bit of rental property. So that does, and I saw somebody send a message one time. They said, there's nothing passive about rental real estate. Well, my first thought was he had bad management, but there is a little bit of management, even if you've got great management. And so, yeah, you have a lot of irons in the fire, different places where money's coming from. And then I'm going to add this last thing. It's this. You need mentorship. You need advisors. You need someone that you can bounce ideas off of. Because if it's just you, you're going to miss things. You're going to see what looks like an absolute emergency. Someone else is going to see as an opportunity. So we have this brain trust here, us three and the rest of our team. and we bounce ideas off of each other when things are problematic, and it's magical, and you get many different great minds together, and they can solve big problems and turn them into huge opportunities. And for some of you that are trying to do this on your own, you will have these intense disappointments. You will have these emotional roller coasters, and you won't have any foundation for someone outside of you to look at the situation and bring some grounding. And so when our apprentice was concerned about a deal, and he reaches out to our coaching team, and he gets grounded by Brian. Brian, of course, has such a soothing voice. Y'all are hearing that, but he's so balanced because he doesn't look at emergencies as problems. He looks at them as opportunities. So absolutely phenomenal question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Again, one of the great lessons I've learned from watching my favorite sport, college football, is what the former coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, would teach his players. And that is not to focus on the scoreboard, but to focus on the actions in each play that are going to produce the best results. So in order to have a lot of irons in the fire, you need to be focusing on getting irons in the fire, focusing on your marketing, focusing on connecting directly with sellers, focusing on putting deals together, focusing on those actions. And then when the closings come, they're good, but you're not a part of the emotional roller coaster because it's just the natural result of focusing not on the scoreboard, but focusing on your actions. And again, that comes straight from Nick Saban because that's what he taught his players. He has a great 60 Minutes episode on that. And I think it's really made a big impact on our real estate investors in our group because we've taught them that message. Do not focus on the scoreboard. Focus on those actions that produce the results of the scoreboard, and you focus on that, and the scoreboard's going to come. Would you like to be coached by me and my team? Every successful real estate investor has a mentor. Discover how you can be mentored by us through our apprentice program by clicking above.